Wonderful morning, dear students. This is your Bamna Miss, and I welcome you all students for your English period today. Now, quite a wonderful and pleasing weather is going on, right, students? I would like to quote something. Okay, every day is a new beginning. Take a deep breath, smile, and start again. Right? Now you would be wondering that why Miss is telling that. But that is what that we need to practice in this situation, into this current scenario. So smile, make your day the best one. Right, students? And not only you have to smile, you have to be happy. But you also need to spread it to others so that the others can also feel good and happy. Yes? So taking this positive quote into the mind, students, let us start with our studies today. We will be going through your Wiley, the last part which was left, that is 6.2. Yes, so you all will be opening your textbooks to page number 42. Take a pencil and eraser in your hand, and let's begin this day with a positive note. Okay, students, 6.2, right? So take your textbooks to page number 42. What are we going to do in this unit? Before we exactly go to the solving of this, we have a listening part. So you're going to listen to something. So question number 1 is about your listening. You are going to listen to 4 short extracts where people talk about winning the lottery. How would their lives change if they won? Right? So we are going to listen to the listening part now. In that you have 4 extracts in which they are describing that if they win the lottery, how would their life change? Okay, so you are going to listen it very carefully. So be ready for the listening part, students. Yes, students, now I will be playing the audio for you all, so kindly be attentive.
Track 7, Unit 6, 6.2, Exercise 1. 1.
I'd buy a Seychelles Blue Bentley convertible. I'd buy a nice fat house in Holland Park. I'd get a lovely big house in the countryside. I'd buy a beautiful house in Spain with swimming pool, palm trees, that sort of thing. I'd get a flat in Manhattan, probably. I'd also have a permanent chef, top of the range chef, who could cook all different types of food, so I could have whatever food I wanted, whenever I wanted it. I'd have my own personal masseur.
2.
I think I would just alter my life entirely. I love the sun, and a Caribbean holiday stands out in my memory, surrounded by clear turquoise sea, so I think I'd buy a yacht. And as I don't know anything about sailing, I'd have to buy a crew as well. So I'd get this luxurious yacht and a very skilled crew, and probably a skilled cook who would just take me all around the world, going from hotspot to hotspot, so I could have a really great time.
3.
Well, I know I'd have a problem with having all that money. I think it is a problem, really, in some ways, because you have a sort of social responsibility, and there are all kinds of people who you need to help, which I would want to do very much. So, of course, I'd sort out my debts, my family's. But in the end, I think what I'd do is buy, depending on how much money I had, buy a huge house, a really massive house somewhere in the country, and just surround myself by all the people I want to be with, and people who perhaps never had a chance to get out into the country at all.
4.
Again, depending on how many millions I won, it would change what I would or wouldn't do with it. Frankly, if it was a lot, 5 million upwards, sort out my own debts, which God knows are bad enough, sort out the family's debts, and then invest as much as possible and just try and live off the interest. Keep it there, nice little nest egg, growing and growing and growing, developing, flowering bountifully. And holiday. Get away, move. Anywhere but cold Britain.
Yes. So we heard 4 extracts. We heard 4 people talking about what would they do if they won the lottery, right? So let us discuss it. What the first person says. He says that if he wins the lottery, he would buy a new car and a new house. And he would also have a plan to buy a house in Spain. And when he would buy a new house, he would also employ chefs so that he don't have to cook himself. He will employ the people who will be cooking for him, right? The second person, what does she say? I'm sorry, he. He says that if he wins the lottery, he would buy a yacht. You know what is a yacht, student? What is a yacht? Okay, so I made a mistake in the pronunciation. Did you identify that, students? It's not yacht, it's yacht. It's pronounced as yacht. And what is yacht? Yes, it's a luxury small or a medium-sized boat which is sailed in the water, in the oceans or in the seas. Okay, it's for the luxury purpose, for the enjoyment purpose. So the second person, he says that he would buy a yacht and he would hire a crew, a chef, and sail all around the world in that yacht. The third speaker, she says that if she wins the lottery, she would pay off the debts. Debts means whatever loans the family has taken, she would pay off all those loans and debts. And then she would buy a new house in the country and she would invite friends and people who, do not visit them very frequently. She would invite them if she buys a new house. And last speaker, he also says that if he wins the lottery, he would also be paying off the loans or the debts which are taken by the family, and then he would invest the rest of his money, and he would move to a warmer country. Now, warmer country means to the country where there is not much of cold throughout the year. Okay, so these are the people who have expressed their conditions, like if they win a lottery, what would they do, right? So when we see, these are the conditions. If I win, then I will do this, right? So in this unit, students, we are going to focus upon the conditional sentences. Okay, now before we go to the solving of that, students, it is very important for us to understand that if is a condition, unless is also a condition. So in which structure do we have to make use of unless? We know that if you do not do this, you will not get a chocolate, right? If is followed by a negative into the sentence like not. But unless, you know what's the meaning of unless, students? We have done this earlier also. Unless means if not. So when you are using an unless in the sentence, how can you be using a negative? Not, because unless itself is a negative, that is if not. So it is very important for us to understand the structure in what context the unless is being used. But before that, we will be solving some question about if. Question number 2, students. Explain what the contracted verb forms are in these examples of the conditional sentences. How do these sentences differ in their uses of tenses? Now, when we talk about the conditionals, if or unless, you also have the tense which is being used in the sentence. It could be in the present tense, it could be in the future tense, future perfect, and so on. Okay, so we have been given these two sentences, A and B, students. Yes, we need to check that what kind of conditional sentences are those. A1, if I won the lottery, I would buy a beautiful house in Spain. I would buy. Yes. So what it is? First one, it is a situation that may happen in the future. I will sometime in the future, I would buy it. So it is about the future. So you will write number A over here. And next, if I hadn't won, I wouldn't have been able to afford the flight. Yes. So what is the tense in this situation about? Okay. So it is a situation that could have happened in the past, but it didn't. Right? If I hadn't won, had itself is the past, students, right? Remember the structure of the tenses that we have studied. So it is a situation that could have happened in the past, but it didn't happen. Now we are going to match these conditional sentences. Match the two halves of each sentence. So from A to H you have the conditions, and in order to fulfill those conditions you will have to complete those sentences with 1 to H. So let us do it together. Okay, first, if you did more revision, check the answers from your students. If you did the more revision, yes, you would pass the exam. So in front of A you will write 4. Next, if it snows, we will get our skis out. You know what are skis, students? The skiing is a sport which is done on the ice. Oh yes, mountains which are covered with ice. Next, if I have time, yes, I like to walk to work. So it is number 7. If Helen comes round, she'll be able to tell you. So it is number 2. Next, if there had been a vote, yes, they would have lost. That is number 6. If they finish early, now see, if they finish, they means it is more than one person. Okay, so that's how you need to find the link. You need to find the hint in order to find the answer, students. So it is Sam and Bernie usually have a coffee. So it is the third one. Next, if you swam regularly, swam, it's the past of swimming. Okay, so your body would be in a better shape, right? Swimming is an exercise, students, which helps to keep your body fit. Remember that. And last, if I would know about the risk, I would have never eaten the seafood. Yes, we have done this exercise in the month of April also, wherein I had shown it, wherein I had displayed this in the PPT. Okay, so we are just doing the revision of it. Now, move to the conditionals with unless. Now, before I go into the deep of solving this, it is important for us to understand the conditions using the unless. So, okay, how to use unless? Unless means same as if not. So in a sentence structure, if you have used unless, students, unless means if not. Now if you see, the negative not is already coming over there. So if you are using an unless, there's no need for adding another negative into the sentence. Okay. If you're using if, you will add not. Okay. Now we are going to see the condition sentences of unless with present tense, how they are being formed. First we will see with if, and the same sentence we are going to see it with unless. You will be sick if you don't stop eating. So you see this don't is already there, that's your negative. Yes. Not the same sentence, you see it with unless, how it is being framed. You will be sick unless you stop eating. Have I used a negative again over there? No, I have not used, students, because unless itself is a negative, that is if not. Okay. Next, I won't pray if you don't provide the goods immediately. I won't pray unless you provide the goods immediately. So this don't, this negative has been removed and it has been replaced with unless. Next, type 2 conditional sentences with unless and past tense. Okay, let's do it with if first. If he wasn't very ill, he would be at work. Okay, and if he wasn't, unless he was very ill, he would be at work. If not, he would have been ill, he would have been at work. That's the meaning of that, using unless. So I hope you all are getting that, how we have to change the structure of the sentence when we are making use of the conditional word unless into our sentence. I wouldn't eat the food if I wasn't really hungry. Right? So over here, wasn't is your negative which is being used. And how it is being changed with unless. I wouldn't eat food unless I was really hungry. Yes, so that negative is being removed from here and unless it is being replaced by the conditional word unless. Next, type 3 conditional sentence, that is unless plus past perfect, that is had been. Okay, so let us see an example. Our director would not have signed the contract if she hadn't had a lawyer present. Yes, and here over here, hadn't is something the past perfect which is being used. Yes, it's a negative one which is being used, and we have to change it into positive because we are going to add unless into our sentence now. Okay, our director would have signed the contract unless she had had a lawyer present. Yes, so this hadn't has been replaced by unless. I hope that you all are understanding. Okay, I wouldn't have phoned him if you hadn't suggested it. Yes, I wouldn't have phoned him unless you would suggested it. Okay, so this hadn't has been removed and it has been replaced with unless. So now let us go back to our exercise questions and check our understanding and solve the questions on unless. Yes, conditionals with unless. Read this example and explain the meaning of unless. We will miss the start of the match unless June arrives soon. So what's the meaning? We are going to miss the match if June doesn't arrive soon. Okay, and next, unless you have already got tickets, you won't be able to get in. So what is this sentence saying? That if you would have already got the tickets, you won't. If you do not, if you have not already got the tickets, you won't be able to get in. Okay. Now we need to solve this corpus spot. Correct any mistakes with unless that exam candidates have made in these sentences, and you're going to tick the correct sentences. If you find that the sentences are already correct which are given, you're just going to put a tick, and if there are errors, we are going to rectify it. So the first one, there will be no improvement in my tennis unless I don't get some training. Sorry, unless I don't get some training. Yes, so if we see, students, there will be no improvement. We need to check the verb form over here. Yes, there will be no improvement in my tennis unless I get some training. So you're going to cut that word don't. Yes, because if you're using don't, students, again it is forming two negatives in one sentence, which is not correct, because unless itself is a negative, if not. Second, I will not remain silent about the letter unless you give me my money back. Now see, there is a condition also, unless. Yes, so but this sentence is correct in its structure, in its form. Third, people hardly ever use candlelight today unless there isn't anything wrong with the power supply. So unless it isn't something wrong. We say, no, something might have been wrong. That is why they are using candlelight. Okay, so anything is not the correct form over there. So it's going to be replaced by something. You are going to write the similar way as I have written on the screen. Next, there isn't much to do in the city unless you haven't got friends. Yes. So unless is being used, and again haven't is being used. So it's a negative. So you need to replace with the positive. There isn't much to do in the city unless you have got, or unless you have friends. So you're going to cut that haven't. Next, you must stop working so hard unless you don't want to end up into a hospital sooner or later. So that unless, it's not suitable over there according to the structure of the sentence. The conditional suitable over there is if. So you must stop working so hard if you don't want to end up in the hospital sooner or later. And last one, if there were no televisions, we wouldn't know much about other countries unless we visited them. So it's the correct form. There's no mistake in the structure over there, students. Yes, I hope that you all have made a note of the answers. And now let's go to question number 5. There are 8 mistakes with tenses in this history. Correct the mistakes and fill the gaps with if or unless. So we need to identify the corrections over there in the tenses, and we need to fill those blanks with if or unless. So let us do it together. Yesterday was a very bad day. If it hadn't been, okay, if is used, it wasn't raining was printed, but they have been replaced with, they have made the correction as hadn't. So you need to make the correct form of the tense. If it hadn't been raining, perhaps it wouldn't have been so difficult. The thing is, I never drive to work unless it's raining. But it was pouring, and I needed to get to an important meeting. So I took the car. Yes, we came across this word, students, pouring. What does this word mean? Just think. I'm not going to straight away tell you the answers like always. You need to think. Pouring means to fall, and it is basically used, this word is used in terms of liquids. So when I say pouring, it means the liquid is falling. Okay, we say na, pour the water in the jug. Right? So pour means to fall heavily, and this term is basically used in the liquids, for the liquids. Yes, but it was pouring, and I needed to get it to an important meeting, so I took the car. It broke down on the way. If I had it serviced regularly. Serviced means servicing, okay? If he says that if I would have regularly serviced it, I know it won't be so much unreliable. So this won't is been replaced by wouldn't. So you have to make the corrections in the tenses when you are using if and unless. Now here in the question they have told 8, and if you see my screen, I have not done all the 8, right? That's purposely I have not done, because you need to find more 4 errors. Okay? If I had it serviced regularly, I know it wouldn't be so unreliable. But garages charge so much less these days that I don't bother. I decided to call the breakdown company on my mobile phone. Well, I would have done that if my mobile hadn't run out of battery. So this hasn't is not matching. So it is hadn't run out of battery. Never mind, I thought. If I'll find a public phone, I'll be able to call from there. Unless it's out of order. It was so I can't. By this time, I was in a panic. Yes. What will my boss say? So your will is being replaced by would. Okay, make a point, make a note of it. What would my boss say if I didn't get to the meeting? Yes. Next, if people don't arrive on time, he will get really angry with them. Luckily, a taxi pulled up. Okay, but before that, there is a correction which I have made in the form of the sentence over here. He will get angry. No, he gets angry. He gets really angry. So this will be cut off. Okay. Luckily, a taxi pulled up. Mason Square, I shouted. And if now he's putting a condition to that person. If you will do to the journey in under 10 minutes, I'll pay you double. It's a condition. If you take me to my destination, I will be paying you double. Forget it, said the driver. The center of town's gridlocked. You would never get there in 10 minutes. Unless you went by helicopter. So the the person says him, okay, the taxi driver is saying him, says him, forget it. Unless you will not be able to reach there in 10 minutes unless you go by a helicopter. So I ended up late for the meeting and the boss was furious with me. Okay. So that is what we have solved. And as I said there are 8 mistakes which very clearly says in the question. But I have done only 1, 2, 3, 4 for you all. And rest 4, you will be finding the mistakes and you will be correcting it because I'm going to display the answers in the next video. Okay. Now take your textbooks to page number 43. Yes. Yes, so now you all don't have the partner, but you all can discuss these questions with your mother or father at home also, or with your siblings if you all have. Talk to a partner, take it in turns to finish these sentences, then tell the class what your friends said. So this, I'm going to discuss it with you all, but you may have your own options and own answers, students. So not a problem, okay? Unless I get up early tomorrow, I will not be able, or I will, unless I get up early tomorrow, I will be able to cook. Right? So you need to discuss these conditional sentences and there can be personal responses to the questions also, students. Don't worry. You don't have to only stick to what am I saying. Next, if I had enough money, I would buy a house in Switzerland. Third, my life would be a lot easier if I was working in a foreign country. And last, if I hadn't come to class today, this is going to be purely your response for the students who do not miss who miss the classes. Okay, so such kind of conditional sentences, students, you all are going to discuss. You all can write your own responses over here with pencil, just small responses. It should fit over here. Now, let's move to question number 7. Look at the words in the box. They form 4 sets and all 4 words in a set have a similar meaning. Can you group them into 4 categories in the table? Be careful, some words can be more than one part of the speech. Think carefully about the meanings when you decide which category to put them into. Now students, they have given you this box of words and they have told that these words, they can be divided into 4 groups. So these are the 4 different parts of speech given, that is noun, verbs, prepositions and adjectives. From this box students, we need to identify that which word is a noun, which word is a preposition, which is an adjective. Okay, so now this box is small students, it wouldn't be fitting. Now suppose if it is a verb, upon that you will write V in capital. If it's a preposition, you will write P capital upon that. Okay, you will not be making a mess over here because it's not going to fix over here students. It's not going to fit, sorry. So let us do it together. Take a pencil and all together students. Accepted. What it is, whether it is a noun, whether verb, preposition. It is not at all a verb because it's not action. It's not preposition defining the position. It's not even adjective. So it's a thing. Am I saying correctly? It's not a noun. It's not a preposition. It's not an adjective, but it's a verb. So you will write V over here upon that. Where I'm highlighting, you will write V. Next, attempt. Give him a last attempt. Attempt, the word is a noun. Attempt means try. So you will write N capital students over here on the top. Next, buy. It's not B-Y-E, it's not B-U-Y, it's B-Y. Buy. So it's the preposition. So you will write P, capital P over there on the top. Next, delicate. This necklace is very delicate. So it is describing the quality of that necklace. So it's an adjective. You will write A capital on the top. Next, experiment. Now this is not an adjective, neither it's a preposition. Yes, it's a noun. You will write N over here. Next, gathered. Yes, it's verb. Gathered means coming together. Action is involved, right? Coming together. So it's going to be verb. Gentle. Yes, it's an adjective because it's going to describe something about the quality, about the thing or a person. In, the book is in the, or we can say the book is in the cupboard. So where's the book? It is in the cupboard. So in is your preposition, right? P. Light. This bag is light weighted. Yes, it's an adjective because it is describing about the bag, how it is, whether it is heavy, whether it is light, so on. So it is an adjective. You will write A. On, the book is on the table. So it's the preposition. You will write P. Next, received. Yes, it is received. So it's a verb. You're receiving something. Next, tiny. Yes, her earrings are very tiny. So it's an adjective. You will write here down A properly and neatly in capital students. Next, to. Yes, it's a preposition which describes the position of the noun. Trial. It's a noun. And even try is a noun. And last one, welcome. We welcomed every guest for the party. So this welcomed is your verb. Okay. Now, question number 8. Now read the short newspaper article below. There are 4 gaps in it. Decide which part of speech is required in each gap. Then choose the correct option to fill each one from your 4 sets of words. Now this question number 8 is linked to your question number 7, what we did right now. We have divided the words into 4 categories, that is nouns, verbs, prepositions and adjectives. Now this is newspaper article and you have 4 blanks. You need to choose the words from these options only, and you need to decide that which is suitable in order to complete each blank. Okay, so these words you're going to choose from these category what we have solved. Whether the noun will be coming, the verb will be coming, a preposition or an adjective. Yes. Last question for today. Speaking. Now students, I know that you've got with whom are you going to discuss, but you can discuss when you're doing this exercise, you can discuss it with your parents so that your speaking skill will also be improvised. Should lottery winners receive so much publicity? That's the question. And let me discuss it with you also, that you get an idea of how you're going to discuss on the speaking part. Should lottery winners receive so much publicity? I feel no. Yes, some of you may be saying yes. But I feel that no. See, it's my personal response, okay, students? Your response may be different. You may say that yes, they should receive publicity from the people. Yes, but for me, it's no. Lottery winners should not receive publicity because they come. Everybody comes to know about them, and they always become the center of attraction. So, according to me, they shouldn't. Now, when we are speaking, no students, it is very important to frame the sentences. You just cannot say no. Are Baba, why you are saying no? Why you are saying yes? There also has to be the reason, and that is what is speaking you all do. Yeah, are you getting it? No, I don't feel, because they receive so much of publicity, and they become the center of attraction for everyone. So for some of y'all, maybe your responses maybe yes, they should receive the publicity. It's good for them. They become famous. So you need to discuss upon it. It's not going to be only yes, it's not going to be only no. And when you're speaking, you can make use of this useful languages, right? So that your speaking skills or speaking power or communication will be improvised. Next, what are the pros and cons of winning the lottery? Pros and cons means what are the advantages and disadvantages. The meaning of pros means advantages and cons means disadvantages. Yes, so I'm using this useful language. The main advantage of winning the lottery is they can get a lot of money, and they can use this money wherever they want to. Yes. On the other hand, the con of winning the lottery is, according to me, the disadvantage or the con of winning the lottery is that there are chances people may get addicted to it, and they may, they may get addicted to playing lottery. Okay, so for me, this addiction can be a disadvantage of winning the lottery. So for you all, it can be your own responses, students. You all are free to discuss it, not a problem. And last, if you won the jackpot, would you go public? Would you go public means, would you go in for publicity? If I won the jackpot, students, I wouldn't go for publicity, or I wouldn't go public, because I do not like showing off things. I do not believe that people should know about me more. Yes, but for you it may be different. You would say that if I won the jackpot, I would go public, and I would be known by everyone, and I would become the center of attractions among my friends. Right? So your responses may differ. Okay. So that's it today that we are going to do. Now I shall display the answers for you all. Yes, these are the answers which I had already displayed it onto the screen. You all can pause the video, you all can make a note. You have to find more 4 errors, okay, students, with the tenses, the correct form of the tenses. And your homework will be question number 8. See how I have written A, N, V, all should be in capital. That's it for today, students. We shall meet again in our next video. And please complete your reader 3 lessons notes and upload it onto the drive. Most of you all have not done, only 1 lesson or 2 lessons have been uploaded. Please don't do that. Complete all the 3 lessons of the readers and reader textbook and scan and upload it onto the drive. And students, you all have scanned the textbook markings which we have sent. Why you all have uploaded those notes? Those are not your notes to be uploaded. Your notes will be what you write in your notebooks. That you all are going to scan and you all are going to upload it. Please, 6th standard students, don't make this mistake. It's a humble request to each one of you. Okay, so start uploading and some the worksheets. Okay, you all had sent me in the month of April and June onto my mail. See, we are not going to accept those mails. You have to upload it onto the drive which is given to you. So please upload all your worksheets onto the drive so that we can go through the checking of it. Okay, students, that's it for today and we'll meet soon in the next video. Thank you once again and be at home.